Hey everyone, I believe everything is about to change. The narrative is changing. There's a particular direction that things are going. If you were with me back on New Year's Eve, in the first 20 minutes of the message, I said the narrative is changing. Something new is coming in 2022. And then we all saw that video a few weeks back with Boris Johnson over in the UK saying, hey, we're lifting all mandates and restrictions and so forth. But where is all of this going? Folks, I believe it's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot sooner than most people think. But where is it going? What are these globalists going to do? Listen, we're going to look at that in just a minute. And before we go there, I want to remind you to like and share this video. It costs nothing to do it. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, you can subscribe to the channel here, the YouTube channel here, and then and it's free to subscribe. You'll get alerted to all of the videos that we do here. And then also, if you don't ring the bell, then you won't be alerted whenever we have our new videos. And by the way, I will be live this Sunday evening. We're going to be looking at the prophet Hosea as we continue with the minor prophets and making connections for today. But let's get going. Well, wait, there's one more thing. February 10th, Thursday, mark your calendar if you're in Minnesota. I'm going to be with Mark Henry and also Jan Markell at Revive Brooklyn Park on Thursday evening, February 10th for a prophecy conference that they are going to be hosting out there. So mark your calendar if you're in the Minnesota area. I look forward to meeting you. Okay, let's get going. Where is all of this going? When we hear certain things that are happening, I believe the narrative is changing. I'm going to share that with you in just a minute. But where's it going? Why is it doing this? Or why are they doing this? What are the globalists really up to? Well, let's first of all consider this. The words of Jesus, Matthew chapter 24. The disciples asked him as he sat on the Mount of Olives and they said, tell us, when will these things be and what will be the sign of your coming and the sign of the end of the age? And Jesus answered and said to them, take heed that no one deceives you. The very first thing he said is take heed, no one deceives you. There's going to be deception in the last days, and it's going to increase greatly. And then he went on to talk about false messiahs and so forth. But also think of this. In the last days, during the coming tribulation period, God's going to send a strong delusion on the people who would not receive the love of the truth, so that they would believe the lie. But we know that Satan himself is going to come up with all kinds of lying, wonders, and deception. Jesus said the deception is going to be so great that if possible, even the elect would be deceived. Listen, Satan doesn't want to just get people on the left. He wants to get people on the right. And a lot of people on the right are thinking, I'm not going to be deceived. Listen, we need to be very careful. What are these globalists up to? I believe that certain things are about ready to change. Think of what's happening in Canada. Hey, shout out to Canada, the big pushback in Canada with all of the stuff going on with the truckers there. Listen, that is just fantastic to watch that happen. And then I read the rhetoric of the labeling that Trudeau and his people are trying to do to the people in Canada. All of you who are watching this up in Canada, and you guys are awesome, so encouraging. And I get so many emails from Canada telling me what's going on there. And I look and go, the rhetoric that is being used by Trudeau and his people to just come against these people who are resisting for good causes. It's just unbelievable, absolute wickedness. So we're watching what's going on with the truckers there. Then there's this article, Canadian pastor jailed for defying lockdown, sings Amazing Grace at the border. I like that, Amazing Grace, just praising God. God is on the throne. But it's not just Canada that's been pushing back. Australia is rising up, and I want to shout out to everybody in Australia too. Listen, let's encourage one another. Ever since I said I hadn't been hearing many things from Australia, I've been getting a lot of your emails. Thank you guys. Let's press forward together. But here's this. You serve us. It's a quote from the people that are at a protest. Police are overwhelmed by anti-mandate protesters after trying to violently shut down the Freedom Camp. That's in Australia. It doesn't stop there. Then there's in Israel, there's this. Israelis to join Canada and other countries in convoy of freedom. I'm looking at these things going, man, this is just great to watch these things that are transpiring, these things that are happening. It's fantastic. And then I look at what's going on here in America. I'm absolutely convinced that these things are changing. So where is it going to go? Will the globalists cede power that they have obtained over the masses? Will it be climate change? Are they going to start saying that's what it's going to be? Listen, we've got this climate problem. I saw an article today that said, hey, we better watch out for asteroids are going to be hitting us. You got to listen to what the government says. We're hearing these things. What's it going to be? Is it going to be monkeypox? Is it going to be a war that's going to break out? Listen, war is rather convenient. When you're losing control as a political leader, a political party, start a war. A war is well known to work. And then you look what's going on in Austria. Check this out. Austria, this is the Austria leaders, not the people in Austria that hate this stuff and are trying to push back against it, but Austria embraces communism to fight a Chinese virus. This is what they said. We are introducing the Chinese social model. In other words, the Chinese social credit system. So listen, just think about this with me for just a minute here. So we watch the direction that things are going as things are progressing this direction. And you look at this, think of this. Consider what's been accomplished in the last 2 years. We have a wealth transfer, the greatest wealth transfer in the history of the world. Guess who's gotten richer? The great big corporations. Guess who's being shut down? Pretty much everybody else. We have freedoms that have been surrendered. I don't know if you're aware of this, but over in the EU as of 2 weeks ago was drafting a law allowing seizure of private property during pandemic emergencies. So you're thinking, okay, we have the greatest wealth transfer in the history of the world. What else do we have? We have laws that are written or rewritten in the EU. What other countries, what other cities, what other counties, what other states have laws that have entered into the books that nobody knows anything about, that the last 2 years has been an excuse to be able to write these laws? So what happens down the future? Something is coming. Check this out. George Soros, he's back in the news. Imagine that. He gave an address by video at Stanford's Hoover Institution on Monday night, just the other day, and which is disturbing in and of itself. But nevertheless, he began his remarks, writes COVID and Coffee, he began his remarks by predicting that 2022 will be a critical year in the history of the world. And then, as he's condemning Xi Jinping from China throughout that, but then he continued observing, we are at or close to important decisions that will determine the direction in which the world is going. Okay, so where's this going? Where's the world going in 2022? We're at this important junction in the history of the world. Think of it again. The last 2 years, they've managed to write laws that almost nobody knows about. They've managed to divide people into groups of good citizens versus bad citizens, managed to condition people into turning in their neighbors and rat on them, shame them, etc. They've done it in schools. They've done it to kindergartners. They've done it in elementary schools, junior highs, high schools, and then college. Wow. They severely enhanced data collection. And along these lines, check this out, Biden administration has database of nearly 1 billion gun purchase records. What could Biden possibly want to do with all that data? Interesting times. There's all this data that's been collected. The people who resisted and didn't get involved and have attempted to use cash everywhere, guess what? They've taken names, they've taken notes. And then the people who went along with it, they've also taken those names. They know who's going to go along with the system, and they know who they've got trouble with. They know who's going to push back. They know which churches stayed open. They know which churches went woke and closed. They know who's going along with the political agenda and who is standing up against it and saying this is terrible. But it's changing because there's too many things that are coming out. So where's it all going? I believe they've managed to get what they've wanted to get at this point. Hence, they're lightening up things. They're going to say it's for your own good. Listen, you guys have done a great job just like Boris Johnson said, you guys have done a great job over the past 2 years, except for those bad citizens. But the good citizens have done such a wonderful job over the past 2 years that we're able to loosen up these things. Listen, they're hiding stuff, but they've managed to rewrite laws. They've managed to condition people to rat on their neighbors. We're all being prepared for what's coming in the future. They've prepared people to receive an identification so they can't buy or sell without it. I mean, you start going down this path, you go, okay, they've accomplished what they set out to accomplish at this point. Let me just close with a couple more things. Think of this. Maybe you're familiar with the Hegelian dialect. And what the Hegelian dialect is, you have a thesis, you have an antithesis, and then in the middle, you have the synthesis. A simpler way of putting it would be you have a problem, you have the reaction, and then you have the solution. So this is what's happened. We've had this problem that we've been told about for the last 2 years. You have all kinds of people who are resisting it, people who went along with it. And then you have this side over here that's not going along with it, that's resisting it. So what's happened with this side over here? Well, with this side over here, it's not that this side over here that created all of the chaos and confusion over the last 2 years wanted you to come all the way over here. What they wanted you to do is just come to the middle. So now this is what's going to happen. We're going to meet them in the middle, and people are going to rejoice and go, okay, there's new laws on the books. We understand. Maybe you really do have our own best interest in mind, and so forth. And they've gotten you where they wanted you to go. But then in the future, they're going to do it again, because they're going to get you to the point of the Revelation chapter 13 model. Think of it like this. Let me give you an illustration that should make it real simple to understand. Let's say you go to buy a new car. What do you have? You have your price, and your price is pretty good. You're thinking, yeah, I want it down here. But then you go into the dealer and you see sticker shock. They have their price. Well, all along, the dealer never expects to get their sticker shock price. They just want you to come over here and meet them in the middle. The price that's the price they've all wanted all along. And if you give them the sticker shock price, then hey, they're thinking, great, a sucker just came in. So this is what's happened the last 2 years. A whole bunch of people went all the way to the sticker shock price. And they're thinking, great, we got them all. And pretty much the masses of humanity moved over to the middle, where now we're going to meet, our freedoms are going to start to come back and so forth. And listen, we're going to see this happen. But why is all of it happening? George Soros is right. Something's coming in 2022. I don't know what it is. I believe things are going to be laxed. I believe people are going to let their guard down. People are going to say you don't need to pay attention to Bible prophecy. See, those things are all wrong. Not so fast. Listen, we live in a world of deception. Satan wants to deceive people on the left. He wants to deceive people on the right. He really doesn't care who you are. He doesn't just go after one particular political group or one religious group or something like that. He goes after everybody, and he comes up with the most ingenious possible way that he can to deceive the masses. He is the master deceiver. So going back to what Jesus says, be careful that no one deceives you. One of the major signs of the last days is deception. Listen, look up and lift up your head. Jesus is coming. I don't know when he's coming, but you need to be prepared, and you need to be smart about what's going on in this world right now. Listen, a reminder, hey, don't forget to subscribe and like this channel. And also, I'll be February 10th. I'll be with Jan Markell and Mark Henry in Minnesota. You can get that information on my website at hopeforourtimes.com. And also on the website, listen, click on the Stay Connected button, and that way we'll email you with updates and events and things like that, so you can be aware of what's going on. And if we get disconnected, or when we get disconnected again from YouTube, I should say, hey, we'll be able to stay connected with you. You'll still get all of the videos that we're doing and everything else. Until next time, listen, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. He'll direct your paths. And listen, the fear of man is a snare, but God is the one who keeps us safe, is what Proverbs chapter 29 says. God bless you.